Good day to our thesis advisor, Dr. Franny Emma Pable, and to the panelists, Dr. Polimer Cuarto and Ma'am Jonalea Martinez, and to our thesis coordinator, Dr. Enya Maria Apostol, and to our English critic, Ma'am Cathy Magalang. I am Princess Joy Iparsan, and I would like to greet you all a pleasant day. We will be presenting our proposed study entitled Tourist Behavior and Preferences During Pandemic, Inputs to the New Normal Tourism Plan, together with my groupmates, Ms. Janice Suarez and Mr. Ronald Dargilias. And I am the presenter of Chapter 1, The Problem and Its Background. Despite the fact that several research have been undertaken on the influence of crisis on tourism and tourist behavior, epidemics have remained confined to certain geographic area, SARS in Southeast Asia, Ebola in Africa, and Plague in the Democratic Republic of Congo are examples of disease that mostly afflicted a specific geographic area for a short period of time. Whereas, this is the first time an outbreak of this magnitude has occurred, hurting tourism market and destination tremendously. Likewise, there were still no studies conducted in the context of Oriental Mindoro that determines the tourist behavior and preferences during pandemic. Hence, it is within this context that the researchers want to assess how tourist behavior can be described during the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of purchasing habit, lifestyle, and leisure, and the tourist preferences related to attractions and accommodation. This study will also attempt to develop inputs for the new normal tourism plan. Statement of the problem. This study aimed to analyze tourist behavior and preferences during COVID-19 pandemic as a basis for the proposed inputs to the new normal tourism plan. This problem will seek to answer the following questions. How does the tourist behavior be described during the COVID-19 pandemic in relation to purchasing habits, lifestyle, and recreation and leisure? How does the tourist preferences be described related to attractions and accommodations? What is the relationship between tourist behavior and preferences during the COVID-19 pandemic? Based on the findings of the study, what inputs to the new normal tourism plan may be proposed? Statement of the hypothesis. There is no significant relationship between tourist behavior and preferences during the COVID-19 pandemic. Scope, delimitation, and limitation. This study focuses on assessing how tourist behavior can be described during the COVID-19 pandemic in relation to purchasing habits, lifestyle, and recreation and leisure, and the tourist preferences related to attraction and accommodation. This study will also attempt to develop inputs for the new normal tourism plan. This study is delimited to tourists who have traveled within Oriental Mindoro during pandemic. Meanwhile, the tourists to be involved in this study will those who meet the said criteria. This study will be conducted in the year 2022. This study will not include the factors that affect tourist behavior and preferences during pandemic. Further, because of the quarantine protocols and restrictions to travel, this research will be limited through the use of Google Forms in gathering data from the tourists. Significance of the study. The findings of this study will be a great help to the following: Department of Tourism, tourism sector in Oriental Mindoro, business owners in the tourism industry, tourists, and future researchers. Theoretical framework. This study is guided by the Theories on Theory of Land Behavior TPB by Eisen and Frisbian 1985 and the Change Theory exposed by Kurtz Lewin 2012. Conceptual framework. Tourist behavior during the pandemic in relation to purchasing habits, lifestyle, recreation and leisure, tourist preferences during pandemic related to attraction, accommodation. Proposed inputs for the new normal tourism plan. Based on the theoretical discussion, the major concept of this study will focus on the tourist behavior during the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of purchasing habit, lifestyle, and recreation and leisure, and tourist preferences related to attraction and accommodations. The third box depicts the proposed inputs for the new normal tourism plan. The directional arrow that points from the first box to the second box depicts the relationship between the tourist behavior and tourist preferences during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Definitions of terms. For this purpose of facilitating the understanding of this study, the following terms are operationally defined: accommodation, attraction, lifestyle, purchasing habit, recreational leisure, tourist behavior, and tourist preference. Good day, my name is Ronald Arguillas and I'm going to present Chapter 2, which is the review of related literature and studies. Literature review. The following topics are covered in this section: tourist behavior during pandemic and tourist preference during pandemic.
Good day, I am Janice Suarez and I am the presenter of Chapter 3, Research Methodology. Research Design. This study will utilize a descriptive correlational research design to generate quantitative data. Research Local. This study will be conducted in the province of Oriental Mindoro. The province of Oriental Mindoro in the eastern half of the Mindoro Island is southern Tagalog's primary food basket and tourism destination. Respondents of the study. Respondents of the study will be the 65 tourists, domestic and foreign. The said tourists have traveled in Oriental Mindoro during the pandemic. Said criteria were met in selecting the respondents. Respondents were selected through purposive sampling. Instrument. The researchers will use a researcher mid-survey questionnaire as the main data gathering instrument. Validity of the instrument. A series of content validation will be organized by the researchers to a panel of experts from the tourism industry. The two-part questionnaire will be duly revised to adhere to the experts' advice. Reliability of the instrument. Pilot testing will be carried out to assess reliability. Data gathering procedure. The researchers conducted pre-survey through Google Forms that were posted using the researchers' Facebook account in order to select tourist respondents who have traveled in Oriental Mindoro during pandemic. Upon seeing the result of the pre-survey from 100 retrieved answers, the researchers select 65 respondents who have met the said criteria. Then, researcher with the assistance of the advisor formulated the survey questionnaire that will be used as instrument in the study. Before the administration of the final questionnaire, a dry run or instrument validation will be conducted to non-respondents of the study. The questionnaire will be done online through the use of Google Forms and Facebook. The researchers will retrieve answered questionnaires after a week that it has been distributed. Statistical treatment of data. The data gathered in this study are subjected to the following statistical treatment. Weighted mean will be utilized to summarize. Spearman's law will be used to determine the relationship between the tourist behavior and tourist preferences during pandemic. The following 5-point rating scale will be used to guide responses to problem statements.